images of a young girl with her jaw literally blown off of her face. A couple days before that, we saw another child hanging off the side of the building with their legs blown off. A couple weeks before that, we saw two Palestinian boys, most likely siblings, who died because they were crushed by rubble. Lancet, a very well-respected medical journal, came out with a report and said that there's an estimated death toll in Gaza of 86,000 people. Almost 10% of the 2.2 million people that lived in the Gaza Strip are now gone. There are 14 million Palestinian refugees all over the world. And Lancet says that the imaginary state has killed 1% of the global population of Palestinian people. I don't have very much more to say than fuck everybody who has been silent on this conflict. Fuck everyone who continues to go to fucking Starbucks. Fuck everyone who still eats McDonald's. Fuck you if you're telling me to vote for Joe Biden. Fuck you if you're telling me that if I don't suck it up, that Project 2025 is gonna just ruin all of our lives. The worst and most fascistic shit we can imagine is happening. It is upon us, and it is all happening under a Democratic administration. I don't want to hear none of that. I already saw someone on my timeline say this, but I really do think it bears repeating. That if they are willing to murder all these people in cold blood for colonialism and for capitalism and for white supremacy, best believe the state will treat you like an enemy at any time. If we're being honest, you're most likely already being surveilled like an enemy of the state. So you think you're safe because you're in America. You are not. America is the most dangerous and fascistic country in the world. And the crimes of the empire always come home.
Facts.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the episode 6 of Tea Time with Andre and Ty Peasant. I'm Andre Gordon, Ty Peasant, and our special guest, False DICHOT. What's up, man?
Hello, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Oh no, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. I know you've seen that video. What's your thoughts on that video you just saw?
Definitely gets into the meat of what fascism even is. There's one of the leading theories is that fascism is imperialism turned inwards. She talks a lot about what you see abroad is what's coming home. 100% agree. It's just a matter of how, when. It's going to look slightly different. Like, we're not going to have people with their faces blown off quite the same way. But the amount of power, the way power is used is absolutely coming home. We better prepare for that.
Yeah, there's too many people that are comfortable thinking like stuff like this will never happen to them, will never come here, but it will. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, but soon, maybe.
Kind of reminds me of that old, reminds me of that old saying that it's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. But I respond to that with, don't you think that peasants thought there could be no end to divine right of kings? It's easy to think our entire lives, my parents' lives, their parents' lives have all looked a certain way. What happens when times start to change? Is it possible for our generation to start thinking that things could change that dramatically?
Well, obviously, you know the stories that happened on Saturday. Orange man got shot in the ear, I guess, and you know, I shouldn't be laughing, but you know,
the Democrats are doing that for us.
Oh man,
he's a danger to democracy, but let's send him some well wishes.
They've resigned. They're like, well, he's gonna win. We just kind of accepted that fact. It's like, oh yeah, real danger. Good job, guys.
Right? It's like they're working together or something, some bipartisan shit. Where were you when Orange Man got almost banged. I was shit posting on Twitter. What about you?
I had just come off a mountain. I went to a big hike with a friend of mine. We're sitting at a brewery browsing Twitter, and oh no, no. I was like,
Orange man shot.
yeah, there's your
Shot.
Reichstag fire. Like, regardless of intents of, whatever the purpose was, we know the result.
Yeah, and what about you, Andre?
I was coming from the hospital because I had to talk to the nurses about how my mama got heal and shit. And the first I heard of it from Utah Peasant. We
Oh,
was in a private DMs, our network, and you said Trump almost got assassinated. I was like, holy! You said my eye was like this. I like, I got on DuckDuckGo, typed it in. I like, oh my fucking god! Then I know y'all
Travis
see
told
me.
me.
Then I know y'all see me make those videos and shit. I'm like, oh my god! Oh shit, man!
I legitimately had an emotional outburst. Like, I was watching it and I'm logically processing it, and I just couldn't help myself. I just felt tears coming. Couldn't explain it at the time, but looking back, it's like the full impact of just how much is about to change and what's going to happen.
Yes.
It really hit.
Now, like some people are thinking, like, some people, have like the conspiracy brains going on. What's your take on it? Do you think it was semi-staged, semi-false flag, or like, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, one thing I know for sure is we can't take what we see at face value. There are too many things that don't add up, too many things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come out and say it was staged. We can't know that at this point. There's not enough
Yeah.
public information.
Yeah,
But that's definitely one of the more likely possibilities. There's a whole bunch of things that could have happened, sure. Being staged, okay, maybe. If we find more evidence, like maybe the bullet didn't hit him, that would lend credence to the staged, right? There's also a whole bunch of information coming out about the shooter that just completely throws confusion into the mix. So I'm sitting here looking at this going, we're getting lied to. I just don't know how yet.
Yeah, like what you said, there's like some things don't add up. Something's going down, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah. Oh, you can go.
yeah. Now I'm gonna share my screen for a second. Give me a minute. Um, yeah. I don't know if it was staged or not because I think they said one person died and one person lived. But
Oh, fuck the
question
guy
is,
that died.
That also lends credence to it being staged, because any staged false flag event involves death. Without the death, then it's too obvious that's a false flag. So
And fuck the guy who died because he was talking shit about Palestinian children. So karma's a bitch.
yeah, you get proximity to that kind of fascist, you're at risk.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't even know that. Shout out to y'all for share my
It's
screen.
just like I still gotta go deep down the rabbit hole, but there's just too many things that are just like the shooter was just like right there. Like I don't like I said.
The
Okay,
shooter was a
Trump.
stud jack.
Yeah, like Trump is already obviously like he was already gaining in the polls. Like this handed him the election. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common opinion, I'll be honest. You're pretty accurate in that assessment from what I've seen.
Yeah. So it's like
Correct.
who staged it, if it was staged, or who like I don't know. Who are both parties benefiting it? I mean, if Trump wins, then the Democrats they'll get their donations for sure.
Yeah, the Democrats thrive on being the opposition. They make the most money when they're not in power. So it is in their incentive structure to not be in power.
Yeah. So it's like, were they just working together? And come on, like, okay, when he was like he raised his fist and like the American flag was like perfectly in the background. It's like, coincidence or it's just I don't know.
And it stretches belief that that shooter was outside the security perimeter and completely missed by both sides of the security. It stretches belief.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be, their Secret Service. They take an oath to protect you to death, like they're dying for you. So it just all seems kind of fishy.
Secret Service claims that this was outside of the security perimeter. It was 140 meters away with the building rooftop looking straight at the podium, so there's doubt there. But even so, even if they were to say, okay, this is the state's responsibility. I had a former friend who was in secret or special forces, not Secret Service. And even working with police with high-end SWAT teams, he said they were the dumbest motherfuckers he's ever met. Every cross-training drill he did with them, they were doing friendly fire up the end. Like, it was crazy. So knowing that he was partnered with Secret Service, they know how ineffective cops are. There is a 0% chance, from my perspective, that they would trust police to guard something that valuable.
That's true. Because there was like an eyewitness who was trying to get a cop's attention about the shooter, and they were just like...
And I can corroborate that the Secret Service knows the cops are that ineffective, and they train for it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I share my screen here. It's from NBC News. It says Congress demand answers from Secret Service to the Trump assassination attempt. Then it says here, as members of both parties seek explanation, Speaker Mike Johnson promised a full investigation of the tragedy yesterday to determine whether lapses were in security. Then it says top leaders in Congress unified to rebuke a fake assassination attempt on Donald Trump at a Saturday rally, demanding briefings and planning investigations into the incident that left the former president injured. Congress would do a full investigation of the tragedy yesterday to determine whether lapses in security and anything else that the American people need to know and deserve to know. House Speaker Mike Johnson said Saturday on the Today Show. But in the meantime, we got to turn the rhetoric down. We got to turn the temperature down in this country. So yeah, man. I mean,
why does this feel like an excuse to bipartisan support rally behind Trump?
That's what I see too.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that ain't adding up.
Even like what Time Magazine already did something. It's like both sides are like pretty much like praising Trump, or I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like both sides are bipartisan. I guess they want to do a bipartisan project 2025. So
well, they've already been working towards it.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy how like the Democrats have this, obviously controlled opposition does this, but they're really skilled at hiding Republican initiatives couched in the language that are used by progressives to make it palatable, to make it so that the activists don't fight it as hard. I was reading today that a lot of things that people, when the Congress tries to pass laws, in order to do things that are unpopular, they find advocates within certain spaces to say, we're not worried about this at all, to sort of justify what they're doing, to make it so that, oh, this organization, this nonprofit that's a watchdog, they say it's okay. And all it takes is one person who maybe doesn't align with the watchdog's initial mission or is corrupt somehow for that to turn into an excuse to say, look, we're not corrupt. And I'm seeing that happening again here. It's just too many things where it's like, look, the Democrats are okay with this too. Yeah, Project 2025 is all big and scary, but it's been the conservative mission statement for decades. So it's inevitable at this point. They're just finally putting into paper their instructions on how they plan to seal the deal.
And my personal opinion, I think both sides are working at it. I don't know, like just the...
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Because if you talk about like rhetoric's cheap. Look at actions. Look at what they're doing. If you actually can't tell the difference between Democratic leadership and Project 2025, is there any meaningful difference?
Mm-mm. Yeah.
I'll say at the end of the day, it's all about class interests. It's all about two sides of the same coin with the same interests, right? There are no presidential candidates, there haven't been, that speak to the idea of collective freedom. It's all about the interests of the class, of the owners, of the ruling.
Yeah, the donors, the class.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So it doesn't matter whether the Democrats are conscientiously doing this or not, because what they're socially conditioned to do, their entire lives have been spent around the will of the donors. You don't get to where you're at in this level of power without conceding to that.
No, yeah, for sure. And I just wish more people would wake up to it, to see what's happening right before our eyes. And it's like, you see other people that have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm like, no, we're not crazy. Like, we're getting you ready for something that you're, none of us has never experienced. Like, shit's going to get bad.
Yeah. It's hard to break
Right.
people away from the dog and pony show of the election, right? We've all been trained our entire lives to think about this as what democracy is, as
And
red team versus blue team.
yeah, we've all been like that. Like, I
Mhm.
was a Democrat. Like,
I caucused for Bernie at one point. Like, I had to go through the process to wake up.
Yeah, I donated to Bernie.
Me too. I donated to Bernie. I went to the not the rallies, but like I went to like people's to knock on doors and stuff. I did all that for I was
Yeah, I
kind
went to a caucus and swung a bunch of Hillary voters his way, but like none of that meant anything.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're working together, and I
Yep.
wish people would see that. And if you say that,
Yeah.
people are looking at you like you're crazy. No, it's literally right in your face. It's a Google search away. You'll see it in videos. They're working together.
Absolutely. It's like the way that I turn to try and wake people up, my approach, is to start explaining the levers of power. You talk about, okay, well, what are your big problems, right? Okay, the economy sucks. Okay, well, has it ever not sucked? Like, in reality, maybe for individuals, but as a whole, you start looking at the way that the people in power pass laws. Like, even Obamacare had its negative drawbacks. Even Obamacare was passed with a trifecta, and they still went after the Republican message there. They went after, basically, it took Romney care. Instead, they had an opportunity to grant universal health care, to grant single payer, any of those. And they decided to go with the Republican option with a trifecta. And when you start looking at like actions versus power, you start to see, okay, well, is it the poor person that's causing this, or is it the conditions this poor person was put under by the people in power?
Exactly, definitely the conditions.
When somebody is
Right.
mad at an immigrant or a minority, it's a lot easier for them to blame somebody that they don't understand. Once they start to see this person's actual circumstance and see how little power they actually have, it becomes really hard to hate that person, because you realize that person has no control over anything that happens to you.
Exactly.
Okay, let's say you're mad that they're getting rights or they're getting, healthcare or something. Okay, well, whose decision is that? It's not theirs.
No, they didn't do nothing wrong. Like, don't get pissed at the immigrants. Get pissed at the government that's not doing anything for you.
Yep. And then you start going upstream and you realize, oh, wait, they don't get healthcare. And then you're like, oh, that's fucked up. Suddenly you realize that even the Democrats don't want immigrants to get healthcare. And you're like, oh, nobody's on their side.
They're wolves. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. And I wish more people would realize that. That's why I always like talk more shit about the Democrats, because I know that a lot of majority of people still think they're the good guys. And I'm like, no, they are the bad guys. They work together.
It's like, I'm punching right. Why are the Democrats standing there?
Exactly.
Thanks, man.
It's just shit's gonna get worse, and all we can do is just keep opening minds up and trying to spread our truth and be prepared.
Yeah. And that comes with the connections between individuals within a material circle. The ability to actually supply mutual aid to your neighbors, figuring out which neighbors are willing to help.
Exactly. Don't donate to politicians. They work for the same fucking team. Donate to your fellow comrades.
Donate to your fellow comrades. Donate to your local community gardens. Donate to mutual aid networks. Invest in building your own source of food. There are ways that you can help your community without donating to a politician.
Exactly. So many ways. And also a lot of people on Twitter, they need help, and they're not politicians. They're regular working class, hardworking people that need help. Help them. Instead of giving your $5 to Joe Biden when he's texting you about some bullshit, give $5 to someone in need. Any amount helps.
Be honest with yourself. What did Joe Biden ever do for you? Like,
not a goddamn thing.
There's a few select communities that. Go ahead. Oh, yeah. There's a few select communities that see it. For example, ContraPoints is an example here, who's defending Joe Biden with her life. And I understand why, right? There's this reality that when you are a part of a community that can be drastically affected right out of the gates, like the trans community, it makes sense to want somebody who's not going to cause you that kind of harm. The problem comes when you start drifting into the sort of defense that ignores the actual problems with the person you're talking about. You can say, we need this person to win without defending them, right? And another one would be my dad, for example, who works in green power. Of course, a Trump presidency would dramatically hurt his career. It would end all the projects he's working on. That happened with the first Trump presidency. They almost lost their house because of the removed investment from green power. So I understand why someone like my dad would be a diehard liberal Biden supporter, because it's necessary for his material conditions. That doesn't make him a bad person. Doesn't make ContraPoints a bad person. It just means that this type of thing is necessary for their material conditions. So I think it's important to remember that when we're talking about why don't people see Joe Biden as the enemy.
Exactly. Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't address the root cause, right? Like, you all know that. Like, Joe Biden just postpones the inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trump's. That's basically what it is.
So do you guys think Trump, he's going to win a lot of states? He's going to be the president?
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the polling lately?
No, I haven't.
So a lot of the swing states are polling in the Senate race +5 to +9 Democrat. In the presidential race, +4 to +6 Trump.
Oh, damn.
So blue swing state districts are swinging hard towards Trump right now.
That's insane. But it's
Yeah,
predictable.
New York. Hey, DICHOT, you heard about New York becoming a battleground state now, man?
What was that?
New York becoming a battleground state.
Yeah, I did a little bit. I haven't looked into it yet, but I saw it was happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
You got info on that?
Man. Yeah. Democrats are in fuck.
There was another thing my
What's that?
coworker was telling. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a thing my coworker was telling me that when Ronald Reagan almost got shot, assassination attempt, I guess it was during an election season, and then he got almost all the red states, like almost all the states red.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I'm sure you guys are familiar with Hassan Abi, but he had a great tweet about that. That was just like Reagan in a landslide. Right after Trump got shot, he's like, Reagan wins in a landslide.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking, that's like, is that what they're trying to do? Is that what they're trying to?
And that obvious incentive is why people are calling it a false flag right out of the gates. Like, we had no information, and 80% of the internet was like, this is fake. You know what I mean? There's just too many reasons why this could be, and not enough why it isn't.
And a lot of people are falling for it. They're like, I know, just like random coworkers or like just random people, they were saying, like in the break room, people are just going to vote for Trump just because he got shot. You know, there's a lot of stupid people that are like that. So.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. I think it was Blair White that was like, Trump took a bullet for this country. It's like, come on, man. No, he didn't.
So, like, that's why I'm wondering, like, this does sound fishy. I mean, okay, an attempted assassination. Trump kind of like knows that America is pretty much like the political thing is like theatrics. So it's like an entertainment. People like that shit. So it's like, ooh, he got
Trump's
shot.
a showman.
He's raising his fist. Yeah. He's gonna win the presidency. I'm sorry to say this, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's really much of a discussion at this point. The one thing I will say, though, to kind of counter the idea that it might be a false flag, we're looking at the shooter. He's like a run-of-the-mill school shooter, so it could go either way. But at the same time, it's like all the conditions in this country are right for somebody who is disillusioned with Trump or whatever to do something like this completely out of the blue. The thing that lends credence to it being a false flag would be like the complete lack of security and the failure of Secret Service. Things that lead to it being not a false flag would be the cops failed, which is expected. So there's just a lot of things that are like, okay, that totally makes sense. With a few little things that are like, I don't know about this. And so that puts me in the spot where it's like, it could go either way.
And what about like what do you think about the Black Rock commercial? Isn't that is that a coincidence, you think, or?
I think it's a coincidence. If you look at what BlackRock does, how they do commercials, etc., probably. However, it is also possible that it was part of a recruiting method. I'm not ruling that out.
Yeah, I haven't really dived deep into that yet, but I thought that was
If you want to
interesting.
go into like the psychology of a school shooter here and think about it from BlackRock's POV, how easy would it be to take someone who's an outcast of their community like this person
He was,
and
yeah.
say, do you want to be a martyr? Do you want to go down in history?
That's true. He was bullied a lot. And then like, I don't know if you see, like, they were talking good stuff about him. Like, he was a bright student. He was this, he was that. He was the top of his class. He was.
White male school shooter shit.
Yeah. So it's like, maybe they recruited him. You never know.
I'm worried we may never know.
Yeah, of course not. They're gonna hide that shit.
Although it is possible if things do hit the fan the way we expect. A lot of private classified documents are going to become public.
Your like opinion, when do you think shit will really hit the fan? What's your
My timeline?
Yeah.
I would say it's impossible to say because you don't know what Trump's going to do per se. But just based on patterns, I'm looking at the first few months being Trump gaining his footing, figuring out who he can trust, trimming out his everything the way it should be. I have a feeling towards the end of his first year is when it's going to ramp up, especially if you get towards any sort of holiday. Like, think about a holiday season. People are going to be not thinking about what's happening as much. People aren't going to be as plugged in. He can get away with quite a bit more during a holiday season.
That is true. Everybody's going to be distracted with their shit and you know.
And he'll have, at that point, 10, 12 months of refining the people around him to being the right people for his job.
Interesting. This is a scary timeline.
I know. About 4 years ago, I predicted that this would happen in about 4 to 5 years, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. And now here we are.
I know. And here we are.
Yeah, I remember Biden won, and I was just like, this isn't over yet.
Just the beginning stages of it crashing, pretty much. We're watching it unfold with Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and if you look at it like through historical context here, it's fascinating how in order for Trump to be out of the public consciousness enough for us to forget about it, he needed to not win. And I think a lot about Hitler going to prison for a while. He came back. That's when he was made chancellor after prison. The public needed to forget about him for a minute.
I get it, yeah.
And then the Reichstag fire led to the Enabling Act, right? And now we have our very own clear as day Reichstag fire. The Supreme Court legalized the path towards an Enabling Act. So the ball's in Trump's court, and he has an instruction manual on how to do it.
Damn. And the Democrats are helping him too, because
actively
working towards their same goal.
Yep. And I really do believe that Biden is honest when he says that he doesn't really care either way, because it's not going to affect his life, right? I think the people around him also recognize I'm not sure if you're familiar with, I'm sure you are, Destiny, Omni-Liberal. He had this interesting post about how he's a win-win either way, because either way, he either makes money, saves money, or something like that. It was kind of gross. I'm not going to repeat it exactly. But it's the same mentality that almost anyone in the ruling class has. No matter who's in charge, they're going to be fine.
They're going to be all right, yeah. Regardless.
I absolutely adore that about the later Star Wars series. Like, they're not good. I'm not going to say that Boba Fett was a good show or that any of that stuff is good. But one thing they did really well with Ahsoka was they showed how the upper class on Coruscant was not affected from the change of Republic to Empire to New Republic. Every single one of them kept all of their status and comforts throughout the entire thing.
Because regardless, they were fine.
Yeah. Because they are the ruling class. So fascism won't affect them.
They are fascism.
Yeah. And fascism is capitalism protecting itself in our current iteration.
And we're the ones that are going to get fucked.
Exactly.
Even worse.
So I wouldn't expect leaders who would not be affected by this to even care.
They're just pretending.
Exactly. For the sake of the game.
I wish more people would see that. Then maybe an uprising will come faster.
The problem with an uprising, we don't have the foundation, and this was intentional. If you start, you can go back to like even 70s, but the 80s is when this really picked up. A lot of the collective power of unionization, of Communist Party, etc., has been undermined to a point where the background work needed to form a successful revolution is impossible in today's day and age. And so we are looking at a new type of warfare, if you will, a type where we need to be informed by our past. We need to look at how do revolutions in the past work. But because the conditions are so different, because we don't have that power of collective action, we need to rethink how we can do that and what it's going to look like.
Mm-hmm. We have so many distractions too, and everyone's just trying to survive. And
yeah, my wife's that way. It's like I would love to bring her in on all this, but she's working 90 hours a week. She doesn't have the capacity to think about anything else, let alone worry.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like that. They do that, like they do that for a reason to stop people from revolting. Like they give you the bare minimum, so you're too tired to do anything, but just to go home and repeat the same shit the next day.
Yep. You're too tired to fight back,
But there's going to be a point where shit's going to hit the fan that we have no choice but to fight back because that's all we have.
You're right. And that's where people like us, the terminally online, the often, not always, but often lumpen proletariat, it's our job then to start doing the groundwork and figuring out what needs to happen. So when the time comes and these people are snapped out of it because there is no work to go back to, we have a place, an alternative for them that is not fascism. Because if we stand by and just let it break, their easiest solution for most of these people is to turn towards the path of least resistance. And that's going to be fascism initially. We need to give them a better option.
Yeah, a better option than fascism. Yep. Yeah.
And speaking to my point about our lack of collective power, our lack of organizing, primarily due to government pressures, I think that we can utilize modern tools as a force multiplier to gain some of that power back. I'm pretty confident. I know that the government has a monopoly over internet surveillance, but I'm pretty confident that you can use networking type tools to find a workarounds to create these networks. Like, for example, TikTok, right? There's a reason they're trying to ban it so hard. It's because one of those things that's slightly outside of their purview where people can network.
Yeah.
And so that's the way that we're going to succeed. If a revolution, if any sort of resistance is going to be formed, it's going to be using modern tools as a force multiplier to overcome the challenges faced by our lack of organization.
So what do you think we should do in the meantime before shit hits the fan? Just keep talking to friends and family, or just just keep spreading it online too?
Right, both good things, both things we should all be doing. However, I'd take it a step further. It's time to start cementing these circles into actual aid networks. And what that means is when you're talking to your family, talking to your neighbors, start asking them questions. If something happens to the grocery store, where are you going to get food? Right? Exactly. If you get people thinking about those base human needs, they start to realize, wait a second, I can't do this on my own. Then you start getting people talking about, okay, well, if, then, what if? And that's where those networks start to form. That's how you actually break through that, okay, we all know something's wrong, but what do we do about it? And into the type of community networks that are survivable, that can withstand the type of assault that is coming our way.
Yeah, and people have no idea what's coming our way, and it's fucking scary.
It is. So for me personally, I'm doing things like I'm spending what little money I do have at the moment. I'm investing in things like two-way radios, in garden seeds. I'm converting half of my yard into a garden so that I can feed myself, my family. Nice. I'm looking at talking to my neighbors. They have a nutrition garden. I'm going to create a calorie garden. The two of us can, share crops. Neighbors across the street have these really strong building skills. So I'm working with them to set up a greenhouse. And in turn, I'm going to be lending my tech skills to them. And so it turns into this thing where it's like, okay, right off the bat, I have multiple neighbors where each of us have different skills and resources that we're able to share. Now, not everyone's that lucky, but there are
Yeah.
people near you who you can do that with. And now is the time to find them.
Yes, find your community, find the people that you're close with, even if it's like your friends online, still find a meetup spot when the shit hits the fan, like
Mhm.
online, offline, find your community, the people that you can trust or you're close with, and find a plan, because when the shit hits the fan, it's
Yep.
yeah.
And
And
so,
also I just recently bought a compass, and I bought a paper map of the whole United States and
nice.
also the state of Florida. So I got that.
That's important.
Yeah.
I would recommend finding some wilderness somewhere and trying to get lost with somebody knowing where you are, so you can practice navigation using your compass and map.
Yeah, because I have no idea how to use. I'm going to be honest.
REI. I'm not
I
sure if you're
use
familiar.
my iPhone map.
REI has some really great training manuals on navigation and survival skills. REI is an outdoor retailer for those of you who don't know, but they have
REI?
REI, the letters. They
Okay.
specialize, I think it's recreational, I don't know, can't remember, but they specialize with their information in people who are passionate about it, and they create entire guides. And a lot of their stores, like near me, you can actually go in and take classes on these types of things.
Oh, nice.
So you want to get those survival skills. You want to be able to navigate to like things like 10 essentials. If you're not a hiker, there are 10 essentials to surviving in the wilderness. Learn what they are and make sure you have access to them without using things like, grocery stores.
For sure. And you also want to be street smart.
Mhm.
Like I said, like people like us, like just saying, you have to have. There's a lot of people that are either gullible or they tune out everything. You have to have street smart. You gotta like get these survival skills. Also, that what is that? The water tube thing. What is it called? Like you like
Like straw.
yeah, life straw.
So in addition to that, before we lose access, there is an app. I cannot remember what it's called, but it shows you where the safe drinking water locations are in the wilderness near you,
Oh, it's an
documented
app.
by.
What is it? Do you
Yep,
know
I
it?
can't remember, but I'm gonna look it up after this.
Okay, cool.
But essentially, it's you still need your life straw, but it's the places that are proven to be safe for life straw use. And it's nice to have access to know where am I not going to get a bacterial infection.
That is good to know. And also, try to figure out before, internet goes out or whatever, back roads to get out of your state, or like, you don't want to go the main highway.
Yeah.
Try to like practice like just a way, just go places where people to get out of here that normally would go. Stay away from that.
So something everyone can do to make all this together at the same time is to try and find groups of activities near you. For example, you can find group hiking activities.
Mhm.
If you find groups of people who like to explore the wilderness, you're more likely to find like-minded individuals. If people like to go out in the wilderness in a group, chances are they are simultaneously wanting to get away from society and have that community focus because you rely on other people out there. So there are ways that you can find social events of things you like to do. That's how you can meet like-minded people. And you don't have to like love the social event itself. You are networking. It's like protests, right? Protests are cool and all, but what is the main purpose of a protest? Not to change anything really. It's to network, to meet other like-minded people so you can build that power and make changes from within.
Exactly. Find your community.
Yep.
Um,
And if
'Cause that's
you're doing those local groups, you're more likely to find people within walking distance of you that you can form these mutual aid networks with.
exactly. We need to do all of this now because, um, before shit hits the fan, because we can't. It'll be too late.
Yeah.
Um, just
You-
keep everyone's contact information and just get everything in place. So you won't freak out too much.
So one of the things I'm doing, I have a couple surplus servers and computers and stuff that I'm turning into servers from my work in IT. And I want to look at creating a decentralized communications network that doesn't rely on much existing infrastructure.
Nice.
Imagine having something like Signal or WhatsApp that is owned by one of us on
That'd be
our
awesome.
servers, right? So obviously, it's not something one person can do. I don't even have the tools for that. But that is something that we can look at building over the next year.
That'll be very interesting. I had Signal, but that would be cool. Like if we can just create something that we can do for
Yep.
communications.
And if it's decentralized, it's safer.
For sure.
One of the things I'm also kind of working on is on a side tangent here. A lot of my friends have parents that are very caring and good people, but they are either sucked into the conspiracy theory rabbit hole or think they're Republicans because they don't like taxes. So one of the things I've been working with my friends on is, how do you talk to your parents about this? How do you convince them and open their eyes without alienating someone who's important to you?
Oh yeah.
And
My
the most
mom-
important, yeah. Go ahead. What about your mom?
No, my mom's she's a liberal, but she just not really into politics. She's just like, it doesn't matter to her. She's just like clueless, and I'm just like, okay, well, when shit hit the fan, like you're probably not gonna listen to me, so I'm just gonna dip. I'm sorry. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gotta do what I gotta do to get to my family, and that's it.
And the unfortunate reality is not everybody is savable or salvageable. But if you think they might be, it's really important to take the approach of grace and understand that they are misinformed, miseducated, intentionally so. And not everyone can be turned, and not everyone's worth the effort, but there are people who are. And it's really important to recognize that you can actually change someone's mind if you avoid big buzzwords. You don't want to use words like socialism or working class, right? You want to use things like, you want to talk about how, doesn't it make more sense when people have more say over the job they do? Isn't it really frustrating when the executives override your decisions and now you can't do your job right? Those kinds of things, right? You can talk to people. Exactly. You can talk to people and get them to recognize who's in power and who they really should be angry at. Once people begin to recognize who is actually causing their problems, it becomes a lot harder to blame something else.
Exactly.
So using a strategy like that and keeping the grace and recognizing that some people can be saved, you can do that. Now, my guidelines for who can be saved and who can't is how they view empathy and power dynamics. Do they care for their fellow human? And do they think that it's more that people who are not in power should be defended? If they are the type of person who's like, power is morality and more powerful people have the right to exploit others, chances are you're never going to convince them.
Yeah.
But if they recognize that someone who is in a weak position needs to be defended and that it's not right to take advantage of someone who can't help it, then you can kind of go, maybe this person is salvageable.
It's just, the way you just have to ask them the right questions and
Yeah.
go from there.
Yep. And like I said, even if that person is salvageable, it may not be your responsibility to help them. Not everyone has the capacity to do that kind of persuasive work. So it's just tips for those who want to try.
Yeah, because, all of us have been there. We I'm not speaking for you guys, but I'm speaking for myself. Like, I wasn't always awake. I was a Democrat. I believed that they were good. I didn't really think nothing about politics, like I was like a teenager when 9/11 happened. I was like brainwashed into the propaganda that we got to save our country and this and that. Like, it's, I was like,
Have you read the book, The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein?
No, I haven't read it.
It highlights how what you experienced is intentional and is used on purpose by our government, both here and abroad. So you're definitely not alone in that.
Can you send me that when you get a chance?
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, I don't know. Before I was awake, it just felt like you're in a cloud. I don't know, foggy, like it. I just can't explain it. Like, I'm totally different from when I was just a liberal, or when 9/11 happened and I was a teenager and I'm like, oh my God. we got to fight these evil doers, and what George W. Bush said, and like everyone had their American flags. I had my patriotic shirt, and like the whole get up. And like, when I was like in my 20s, I'm like, okay, I did my research, and I'm like, this country hasn't done shit for me. And then when Obama became president, I was still a little brainwashed. And after that, I was like, no, that's when I woke up. So yeah, my advice is my homework for everybody. Everyone has homework assignments. Talking like chill time, LOL. No, but what I'm trying to say is that find your community, because the shit's gonna go down. Don't you agree, Andre?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Find your community. And you know what? One thing, and I hate when people say Twitter's not real. Like, no, everybody, the people that you find in Twitter are real, just like you. If that's your community, that's your community, and you'll see them. And I'm just saying the shit's gonna go down, so everyone needs to find a community. Like, fascism is here, but it's gonna get worse. It started with Biden, and now the Democrats and the Republicans are working together to create their one big fascism. So I think we're running out of time. That's what I'm saying. Everyone should find community. And I'm glad we're doing these videos, because I just think it's going to get worse. And we're going to keep recording until the end, pretty much. All right. Sorry. Got anything to say, Andre?
Oh, got a bit. Oh, what's up, man?
Thank you. Sorry, technical difficulties, but we're back. Yeah, good statements, Tired Peasant. That is absolutely right. So what's the homework?
Homework is find, if for everyone, well, you seem to have community. Find community, find more community, or just work on, the community that you have. Another homework assignment, add more things to your survival list, or things that you think you're going to need, plans. Just don't overwhelm yourself. Like, start slow.
I'd like to add to that real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Find your buy nothing pages locally. They're all over Facebook, sometimes Twitter, but there are several buy nothing Facebook pages in my area where people are getting rid of things and they don't want to try and sell it. They want to help their community. So they're putting on this, give for free, take for free. And one thing I found from this is these people have no political education whatsoever, but that desire to do good and the initiative to give and take within the community is exactly what it takes to succeed. And that is also a fantastic resource for preparation, both in the material sense and in the community sense.
That is a great idea, because sometimes, people may not have any political affiliations, but they have heart and they have community, and you can like swerve them kind of your way to the good side.
And it doesn't even have to be political, right? Survival is a human thing. It's not a political thing. When shit hits the fan, everyone's going to have needs. And what matters is, are you going to help each other, or are you going to try and make it a competition, right? And these buy nothing pages are what I have seen anyway, such an incredible way where it's about cooperation over competition.
No, yeah, I agree. Andre?
What up?
Got any homework for the viewers?
Oh no. I'm just doing some work online. Man. Hey, DICHOT, I gotta ask you a question, man. Do you have a podcast or something?
No, but I've been on a few podcasts here and there. Like my local barbershop has a podcast, stuff like that.
Hey, I'm gonna give you a tip, man. Get your podcast, man. You got a whole lot of knowledge in your brain, man.
You're good, yeah.
I appreciate it, and I thanks again for having me on. I really enjoy being able to talk to new people.
Hey, you taught me stuff I didn't know, man. I was just listening. I was, it's not that I want to talk to y'all. I was listening. I like to absorb so much information as much as I can. So.
Yeah, I'm a chatty, so sorry if I took over a bit too much.
No,
but
we need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my goal. I am primarily a learner and secondarily an educator. It's about trying to learn as much as I can so I can share it with the people.
She was an educator before learning. Shoot.
Are you're interested in like doing podcast work?
A little bit, yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to it for sure. I got roped into producing a podcast at one point, and the lack of preparation from the host made it a little overwhelming for me as a producer. But I would be happy to participate as not a producer.
Okay. Hey man. DM me, man. We gonna put something together for you, man. You know, cause
Thank you.
people need to hear you, man. You know, I really played the producer role, but
Yeah, he's
people need to hear.
producer.
Yeah, and you're doing a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, I could do better, but I just started, so
Yeah,
Always room for improvement, but that's how you learn, right? You do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, man, hit me up, man. I want to get you hooked up, man. People need to hear you. Like,
All right,
you need
thank
to
you. I
blow up.
appreciate that.
All right.
Andre, can you check the group the group network thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. Doc, I got a question. Do you prefer like podcasting like what I do, or you prefer like a network like what me and Ty Peasant doing? You know, basically like being on YouTube and Rumble and stuff.
Honestly, I've got no preference. I actually do have a little small YouTube channel because I used to coach Overwatch at a semi-pro level, so put
Oh,
together a few
okay.
coaching videos and stuff. Mostly private, but you know, I've definitely have some experience with producing both YouTube videos and podcasts.
Tell you what, if you can make the content, I could put it together for you. You know, put it on a podcasting platform, podserve.fm. Tyler, he do a great job. You know, he put my podcast and stuff together. He put it on all major platforms.
Like,
Yeah,
would you?
man, you
Yeah,
can do a lot of
like
shit.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd be
like
down for that. I'll have to explore that as we go on a little bit more, but I'm definitely interested. You've piqued it.
Okay,
awesome. So you would be interested in joining our network?
100%.
okay, I bet.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna add you on to the StreamYard so that you know you can have access to it. Yeah,
Welcome
man.
to our network. We are looking for
Yeah.
And I'll
people.
have a
We're
better
looking for more
microphone
people.
next time. I've got an actual streaming microphone at home.
Okay. Oh, that's dope, man. Okay.
Cool.
Anything else you got, Ty Peasant?
Um, I like to say in closing, always fuck Israel.
Amen to
Fuck
that.
Israel. Um, tomorrow's my Friday. I get to relax. Wednesday morning, I'm gonna record. I'm gonna record my chill time. So yeah,
Okay.
That sounds good.
Okay.
it was
Black
a
Heart.
pleasure talking to you guys tonight, and it's always fun for tea time. And yeah, thanks for joining our network too. And we have big things coming up. So,
One place.
and we'll add you to the little what is it called, the group chat of the network.
Cool.
Awesome. Andre, you
Always
want to
down
say
for more group chats.
Hey, DICHOT, where people can find you at, man?
Well, basically just here for now. That might change in the future, but I'm just starting off. I'm relatively new to Twitter, just kind of finding my way around and trying to find like-minded people. So right now it's just False Dichot, which I believe is at False Dichotomy.
Okay. All right, man. To the network and you know, got big things coming, bro.
Thanks again.
All right, guys. That's the end of this episode 6 of Chill Time. Tea Time with Andre and Ty Peasant. Have a good one, everybody. All
thank
right.
you guys. It was a pleasure, and thank you for being in our network. And bye, Andre.
All right, Ty Peasant. All right, Paul DICHOT.
Bye, False.
Bye, folks.
Guys, shameless plugs. Obviously, our network, Andre and Ty Peasant Network. Um, you can find my link on my page, Intellectual Boy 24. I have a link tree with all my links, my podcasting links, TikTok on there, my Twitter on there. If you follow my Twitter, you probably know who I am. I'm finna show a couple of mutual aid requests. These two individuals are struggling financially, man. Been there. I know how I feel to not have any money left after your bills, man. And then the price of groceries, gas still high. Joe Biden said the economy's doing great, right? So I'm finna share my screen and show y'all a couple of mutual aid requests. Here's Ibarra 11. Y'all know him on Twitter. This guy, he's magnificent too. Hopefully he'll be able to join the network in the near future, but as of now he needs financial help. So here's the video I made. It's also on Twitter too. Y'all.
What's up, guys? I hope you guys staying safe, happy, and healthy. Update. Kay hadn't received any funds yet, so I had to make a second video because apparently Twitter is suppressing any mutual aid content. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, guys. Anything helps. Kay going through hard financial times right now, so $5, $10. Anything helps, man. Even retweeting this video helps. So don't be ashamed if you ain't got no money. Don't be ashamed don't be feeling bad to retweet. Retweeting is good. Hopefully it pushes it out in the algorithm. So yeah, guys, donate to K. That's his cash out right there. Thank you again.
It's Kay. On my Bauer 11. My next one, and here's Ty Peasant's mutual aid request video.
What's up, guys? I hope you guys are staying safe, happy, and healthy. I got a mutual aid request for Top Peasant. She says it's summer and it's hard for me to ask for help. I need help with groceries. Any amount helps. The least you can do is retweet my cash app, which is right here, Liz4285. I'm legit. I've made my mark on him for 4 years now, which is phenomenal. My goal is 200. Let's triple that, y'all. Like, we could do it. Like 200, yeah, that's the bare minimum. Let's triple that. Like if ever like 500 people gave $1, like that's enough groceries for a couple of months, I guess. That's how much I need to fill my fridge for my children. Yeah, 500. That's 2 months worth of groceries. That's good. So yeah, guys, that's a cash out right there. Yeah, y'all help my friend. I consider her a great friend, and help my co-host out. We doing big things. We got a show on Rumble called the Andre and TP Network. Check that out too as well. Thank you guys again.